One of the best ways to rank up in Rocket League is to learn how to think and play like a higher rated player. If you want to be able to push into those higher ranks, eventually you're going to need to understand the level of gameplay that will be required to get there. So in today's video, we'll be showcasing some simple ways that you can make higher level decisions in your own games. And real quick before we do get started, if any of you are interested in having one of your own replays analyzed, make sure you do check out my Discord, which will be linked down in the description, as I do offer free coaching through there. This is fine, just grabbing some boost early on. Okay. Yeah, you're gonna give them a goal immediately, and this is the problem right here. So this is just a lack of awareness of the fact that your teammate is in an awkward spot. As soon as this ball goes up the wall, my brain just immediately recognizes, okay, this teammate, even if he wants to turn for this ball, he's gonna have himself some problems, because that's a really awkward ball to turn for. So I have absolutely no faith that he is going to get any kind of touch. I don't want to, like, sprint back down the field just in case he does manage to turn and get a touch, because that way I can turn quickly. But I also don't want to be turning towards this wall until I am 100% sure that either my teammate does have a touch or the opponent is missing. And you can see, like, you're turning now when every idea here is saying that Atomic there is going to get a touch on this ball. Very unlikely for your teammate to win this. So I would just stay facing backwards, and you'd be totally fine. So just be aware of those awkward positions. Make sure we're not committing for something that doesn't necessarily exist. Because, yeah, that is an unnecessary goal to concede early, and it's purely because we turned in a very hopeful position where there wasn't a whole lot of hope available.
Yeah.
Oh. We rush onto this ball way faster than we need to, because as we move towards this kickoff, we can see this guy's going to this corner. So we don't have to worry about them at all. Like, they're out of the play completely. No one cares about them. When this ball kills, it's important that we just make sure we get around the traffic in the midfield. Because, like, if we get around our teammate here, we have free control of the ball in a free 1v1. I wouldn't recommend just trying to shoot this first time, because that opponent is already turned back towards net, so he is probably going to make this save. But all you need to do here is just calmly drive around your teammate, control the ball, and take the 1v1. But instead, you try to just barrel straight through him, straight to the ball, instead of realizing I can just, you know, take my time and go around. And it means that instead of you having a dangerous 1v1 opportunity, you just roll the ball right at your opponent. And then right here, I'm curious as to why you try to jump in on this.
Oh, yeah, well, he was shooting the ball towards net, so I thought to save it before he gets closer.
So what I want you to consider, right, is, because that's a totally fair thought, right? Ball going towards net, need to keep the ball off target, that's fair. We need to be aware of where everybody is at all times. So as this ball goes up in the air, what I'm seeing is here's teammate, right here. He is going back towards the net. So what that tells me is he has the net covered. If this dude loses possession of the ball at any point during this attempt, I'm just going to let it go to my teammate, because there's absolutely no reason for me to cut across the field when my teammate is in a fine spot to play it. So, like, as we go back here, I'm looking at this. I'm not turning into the midfield yet. I'm just staying over here. And I'm just going to watch. And as soon as I see this, I'm like, oh, yeah, buddy, you are not getting back to that ball, are you? This ball is now free. There's no way he's doing anything dangerous with this, even though we don't know how much boost he has. Because of where he is, like, his only option is to just keep hitting it forward, and, he's going to the corner. So, yeah, you can see your teammate is in, like, this perfect spot to go, like, actually catch this ball. But now, instead of him having a free ball here to play with, he has you jumping across his screen. And now he's just like, oh, wait, what? This is awkward, and now he tries to leave it. But it's all very awkward just because we cut in a spot where we don't need to be. So just have that awareness. Like, can the opponent get back to the ball? If no, and our teammate is in a good spot, just let them have it. Be careful of this. I would like to see you keep this ball a little bit closer. Just because Atomic is attempting to read your touch. Like, his only option at this point is to play this block. So if you see him here, you don't want to, again, play directly into what they want, which is for you to just hit the ball as hard as possible, and they're hoping that they just have you read and cut it off. And in fairness, if they do block you here, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So again, we kind of need to recognize the situation we're in, and we can recognize if we have time to slow down. Because like looking at this, teammates all the way out there. Well, they're going to take absolutely forever to get back. They're not going to be back here anytime soon. So blasting the ball away and like possibly leaving it in the midfield, even if we do get around this first guy, isn't necessarily the best idea. So there's nothing wrong with recognizing, oh hey, this ball is going to bounce up the backboard here. I don't need to touch it. It can roll up the wall, and I can just go up the wall with it and prepare for a 50 against this guy. That's something I can do. And that's an idea that a lot of players struggle with, is this idea that you don't have to touch the ball as soon as you have an option to do so. Because oftentimes the very first touch you can get is not the best one that you can get. So as you're coming back here, just like read the situation. Is he challenging immediately? No. Well, then I have a little bit of space. Let's utilize that and put ourselves in a better position. Because yeah, if you get blocked here, it's very possible that Liam's able to get in fast enough to score this. And yeah, it's just a very dangerous touch to go for when you could have just taken a bit more time and forced a more controlled 50 with that opponent. I don't know if I'm a fan of going into the air here. I'm assuming you weren't planning on going towards the corner. I'm assuming you wanted to go either towards the backboard or towards the net directly, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I figured that it was probably just an initial mistouch. Honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to you recognizing that you have space and just catching this ball. So instead of turning around in a circle right here, this is probably just a bit of a mystery and you don't realize that it's bouncing off the ceiling and it's going to land way shorter than you think it's going to. I think you're thinking it's going to go a bit further. But if we had made that correct read, there's also nothing wrong with like looking for ground control here. Because if we can keep it on the ground, that number one gives us options offensively that are much easier to recover out of. It also opens up the possibility of us just absolutely blasting this to the backboard. Because, no offense to Diamond defenders, but there's no way Tomic is getting a touch if you just absolutely send this thing to the backboard. Send it to the backboard, teammate can turn and go for the shot, and that is a much safer and probably more effective play in this position as opposed to taking a very slow air dribble like this that doesn't even go anywhere threatening. So don't be afraid to sometimes just take a powerful touch towards an awkward spot if you recognize the defense is kind of flat-footed. Okay, so two things here. Number one, once again, wider rotation. When your teammate makes this touch, it's very important to immediately recognize where the opponents are. He is on the wall, facing this way. He can't go for the ball because the ball is going over there. The other guy's all the way over here. It's going to take him a long time to get all the way over there to get this ball. So we have a little bit of time. Not a ton, because someone's probably going to attack fairly quickly, but we do have some. So rather than immediately turning at this near post, take a bit more time and rotate a bit wider. You know, not too much wider, but just a little bit. So, you know, you're coming back here. This is fine because you were wanting to be ready to make a save. I would probably just drive back to this boost pad and then turn towards net. And what that does is it basically gives you coverage of everything. It also stops you from doing this like weird 180 drift turn where you're now like facing out this way. Which, if this opponent does shoot the ball, this is going to be a really awkward save. But if you were, like, back here or something like this, this would be easy. Right here, this goes back to the idea of just because we can attempt to make a touch doesn't mean we have to. Again, assess where everybody is. There's nobody who can shoot this. This guy might be coming on, but not immediately. So we don't need to panic. This ball is coming all the way across the net. We can tell right now that nobody's on this because Tomic's going to get that boost and Ryan's on the wall. So we don't need to touch this ball. Let's just go into our opposite corner. We can just let it go there. And then half flip, go get the boost on that side, and we have free possession. Do you remember what you were thinking in this moment that made you want to jump like this? Did you think it was like on target, or were you just like panicked that it was close to your net?
No, I remember I tried to side flip the ball towards the net, the opponent's net, because I've done it multiple times, and few of times were a goal. Well, sometimes we were actually miss.
Gotcha. Yeah, I would be careful of that thinking, just because, like, looking at where everybody is, obviously you're not looking at Tomic right now because, you know, the ball is literally coming towards your net. But you should, out of the corner of your eye, be able to see this nameplate. Not anywhere near the play right now. So I would caution you from just like hitting the ball towards the midfield because Tomic's about to get that boost and he would very easily be able to turn on that. So just recognize when there's absolutely no reason to make a touch. And don't be afraid to just let the ball go, because sometimes the best play you can make is no play at all. And this is definitely one of those situations. This is just kind of awkward. We're, again, kind of rushing here. So, first of all, you get a little bit close to your teammate here, realistically. Like, I don't know why you want to be, like, underneath him over here. I would give yourself a little bit more space, like, stay out over here, just so, you know, you have more of the field covered as opposed to being in relatively the same spot as him. And then when this challenge happens, like, again, just let him touch it. You're already boosting forward as if you're actively going to challenge the ball. The problem with this, right, is, okay, we're using boost, but the question is why? Because we don't actually know where that ball is going yet. Like, it's going to the wall somewhere, sure, but we're already utilizing boost as if we are actively going and playing the ball. When in reality, we're not. We have to wait for this play to develop fully first before we can actually attack it. So just try to maintain a more, like, calm, neutral position until you see exactly where things are going, and now at this point, you would have a free ball. If you hit your boost now, and went and challenged it, you'd have a free ball, but instead you boosted forward early, and now the ball's on top of you. So now instead of you being able to boost at it now when you're, you know, sure of where it's going and you're able to go make a play, you are here too early, and now the ball is awkward, and now you can't really get a good touch at all. And then, yeah, this is wishful thinking. This is a 100% jump and hope that something good happens. I'm assuming you're, like, trying to play a block, or you just didn't think this guy was up here, but I'm assuming one of those two things is what's going through your head.
Yeah, I was blocking. I'm trying to block.
Gotcha. So, again, sometimes the best play you can make is no play at all. Because this ball is super awkward, right? Like, even if we do go up, like, sure, maybe we get a block, but the chance that that ball goes somewhere good for us and not somewhere good for the opponents is pretty low because of the angle we're jumping from. And because the opponent's going to have, like, momentum coming with boost off the wall, it's going to be pretty hard for us to, like, leave the ball in a good place for our team. So, rather than trying to force this, again, there's nothing wrong with just waiting and just driving away. Because I also know that this dude is probably not about to send a screamer down the field into your net. Like, that's probably not what's about to happen. But even if we are worried about that, we can just drive back this way a little bit and just wait and see. So let's just say that instead of jumping for this, we recognize, all right, you know what? I can't really make a good play on this ball. Let's just, you know, wait. And you just kind of hang out over here. Watch this. Oh, hey, wow. Well, this is nice. That's a free ball for you. All because we just let him do whatever it is he wants to do. Just because you can make a play on the ball doesn't mean you have to. Sometimes you just let them hit it, and they're gonna hit it right to you. Especially at this rank, players are not well in control of balls, like off the backboard or off the walls. Very often, if they're going for it, they'll probably get a touch, but more than often it won't be great. And you can just go pick up control afterwards. But now, instead of you having control of this ball and up the wall you go with possession, you are now all the way over here, kind of out of the play. Your teammate's left in this 1v2 situation because we dove forward, and he misses the ball, and now it's just, you know, pretty much an open net. You do get back, but it's a very rushed attempt to get back, all because we dove when we didn't have to. So, again, don't be afraid to just let the ball go. Don't be afraid to just let the opponents take a touch and play off of it. This is fine. Don't jump if you don't need to. Again, just because you can make a touch doesn't mean you have to. The only person who can play this ball right now is Tomek. This guy is too far away. So this is your focus. There's no reason to jump and hit this ball this way, because even if it gets over Tomek, it just goes right to Liam. Like, that's all that touch does, is go either to the corner and Liam picks up control there, or directly to him. It's okay to just let this ball come down and just play a 50 here. We don't need to go for an outplay with every opportunity we have. We can often just let the ball come down and play the 50, because this is just us trying to do too much, and now we've just given away the ball for free. Luckily, he doesn't do anything to try to control it, and it just goes directly back to our teammate. But again, not in the position we want to be putting ourselves in. And this is going to be the goal. Yeah, because teammate's not going to save this. Yep. Okay, so this just comes down to these two plays. It comes down to you not getting a decent challenge or anything out of this interaction and it going directly to your opponent. And then it comes down to you seeing the ball fly forward. And I know exactly what you're thinking, and I understand why you're thinking it. You see this, you see ball in air, you know teammate can't go, so you're like, you know what? I'll turn for him. I have the boost. I can probably play this ball, put some pressure on. I'm assuming that's what you were thinking.
Yeah, I was thinking of that.
I respect the thought. The fact of the matter is, though, you have no idea where your opponent is right now. You have absolutely no clue where they are or what they're doing. So for you to turn this aggressively without any knowledge as to what your opponent's doing is super dangerous. Because what you're doing is putting both yourself and your teammate in the same spot. Because teammate's ball cam, is teammate looking up? Yeah. So teammate's ball cam is looking straight up in the air. I almost guarantee you he has not seen you turn. So by you turning here, you're just going to put both you and him in the same position. And now one win from your opponent is good enough to beat both of you. If we take a step back and look at the positioning of everybody in this play, you can see that your opponent is going to have advantage because he's been able to see this all develop. You're, staring up at the ball. You have no idea where he is. So all he needs to do is just sit back and watch. And I mean, actually, he moves forward way more than he probably should have. He made that way harder than he needed to. He could have just waited until you rolled the ball right at him and then would have had a free ball. But he got to sit back and watch that whole play develop. You tried to force yourself into it in a spot that you really didn't need to be in. So yes, there's like a half opportunity here, but because you don't know where anything, what is going on behind you, you don't know what your teammate is planning on doing, it is far better to just take the simple play, just rotate around, let your teammate move forward and force this ball, and hang out back here. You gotta worry about that bump, but then what happens is your teammate moves in to force this, and now when your opponent does this, if you're here, I fancy your chances of scoring this. I'd at least give you a shot at it, but instead you're both up there. And now your teammate has to try to scramble back in a very awkward position, all because we turned and tried to force ourselves into a play without any knowledge as to if it was actually a good play or not. Again, we're jumping with a hope that something good happens without any knowledge as to what's actually going on. So once you get this touch, the ball is over your head, I would just keep ball cam off. There's no way you're getting back up to this with only 16 boosts, especially without knowledge of what's going on the other end of the field. Maybe go threaten a bump here, force this guy to jump, and then when he jumps, I would just go take their boost. And then get out. Because then you can come back, your teammate can come forward. You kind of do that eventually, but you took yourself off the ground to do it. So you could have already probably been back around here. And now your teammate comes in for this, and now you'd already be here. So now you could already be lining this up, as opposed to just turning now. So it's a very small difference, but it's these small differences that are going to start to make big differences when it comes to actually being in position to outplay your opponents. Maintain pressure, sure, like that. Once again, we don't need to jump. I understand why you want to, because you're hoping to win this 50. You're not going to win this 50. Liam has way too much momentum and is facing this ball way better than you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with just letting him make this touch, drive back towards the midfield. Teammate can now read this touch coming. He does not have to wonder where it's going to go off of 50. So that's the other reason that we sometimes just let the opponents have a touch when we recognize we can't really make a great play out of it, is because it's much easier for our teammate to read. Him just jumping straight and hitting the ball this way, that's really easy for our teammate to read. He understands that it's going to bounce off the corner, and that's about it. When we put our own car into the equation, it's now much more difficult, because who knows where that ball is going to go off the challenge. It could literally go anywhere. So that's the other reason why we don't necessarily want to throw ourselves into that. Because it would have been easier for our teammate to read, he wouldn't have made that mistake probably, and we wouldn't be scored on. As you guys can see, we're really not talking about anything incredible here today. We're really just focusing on playing as solid a game as possible, recognizing where the other players are, and just generally playing with awareness. Awareness is such a big thing because the more aware we are of the overall state of the field, the better decisions we are able to make. If we are too focused on what we ourselves are doing and are not paying attention enough to what is going on around us, we are going to find ourselves in a lot of problematic situations, as we saw here. So make sure in your guys' own games you really do take the time to understand the state of the field as a whole, and try to base your decisions off of that information that is available to you. Of course, thank you everybody so much for watching. I really do appreciate each and every one of you who made it to this point in the video, and I do hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did, make sure you click that subscribe button right down below. so you make sure you don't miss any future Rocket League content. Additionally, once again, if you guys are interested in some one-on-one coaching of your own, or perhaps you just like to be a bit more involved in the community we're building here, feel free to check out my Discord, which is again linked down in the description. And as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. See you later, guys.